I cannot do a 9 to 5. I know this is gonna sound spoiled. I know this is gonna sound like some artsy creative who, just doesn't want to put in the hard work and hours, but I physically do not think I can do it. I start to cry if I have more than like 3 non-creative tasks to do in a day. And imagining doing 8 hours a day of something that I don't really love for the rest of my life, so there's no other option. This has to work. This is gonna sound even more artsy and arrogant, but I heard this quote in a show once, and it said, people like us can't live normal lives. If we try, it kills us. And honestly, I am throwing myself into that category, because I think I will simply die. So if you want to listen to my music and help be, one step in the process of me not literally dying, please stream it. I love you guys.
Yeah, it's called working a 9 to 5, and nobody likes to do it, lady. Jesus Christ. Sorry, I had to come in hot here, boys and girls and non-binary folk. This video blew my mind. That came from Zoe Wynn Music. Yeah, Zoe Wynn Music on Instagram, and she would literally die if she works a 9 to 5. Well, I got news for you. Here's the thing, and this is for everybody listening as well, not just this lady. Although, obviously, for anybody with a brain watching that, they're like, the fucking sense of entitlement is out of control there, absolutely out of control. And the thing is, yeah, I get it. Nobody likes working a 9 to 5. Nobody. Most people. Some people, that is their dream job, or some people, they really like that job. That's what they like to do. That's fine. And that's actually really good, because that's, it's hard. It's hard to make it in something creative. It'll probably get easier in the future, I imagine. But right now, the way the world works, unfortunately, you got to do a real job as it is. I hate using that term. I hate using that term real job, because every job's technically a real job, but like, you know what I mean? The classic old 9 to 5 job. So, but it's in this whole video, the reason it bothered me more is just because it's just entitlement, right? I cannot do a 9 to 5. Yes, you can. You can. And there's a lot of these people that are just crying. There's crying baristas at Starbucks saying they're just overworked. I didn't get a coffee break today. It's like, holy fuck. Like, I don't remember the last time like I had a 15-minute break ever in a job. And even then, it's just like usually my lunch I don't even take, but that's a personal choice. I usually just take off an hour early, because I just don't I don't get hungry during a day. Like, sometimes I do, but then if I do, I eat and then I feel like shit and I don't want to do anything else. So I find I'm a lot more effective if I don't eat. But it's just the entitlement of these fucking people that they don't want to. Like, they say, like, she's like, oh, I'm literally gonna die. It's like, no, you're fucking not. You're not. All right, you can do this job, and I'm with you, lady. I'm with you. Nobody likes. They're not like. Again, unless you have a job that you actually like, or it's a dream job, most people. Yeah, I would much rather. I've said 100 times on here. I'd much rather do podcasting and my gaming, my streaming, all that. That I would love for that to be my job. That would be so fun. And it's another one of the reasons why I dunk on all those cheaters, on like people that are speedrunners or, just professional gamers, and they get caught cheating. And the reason I'm so hard on them is because they have my dream job. Like, they fucking made it and they screwed it up. So, like, I'm sorry, lady, but the reality is you do got to grind. You really do. And I think it's good that obviously she must do music. I'm guessing. I don't know much about her, but her handle is called Zoe Wynn Music. So yeah, I assume she's some sort of musician, but it's like, unfortunately you gotta grind. I mean, that's just the way it is. This podcast, it could just go nowhere. I don't know. Or it could be, I mean, we're manifesting for #1 podcast in Canada. That's kind of our goal, Then we'll work on taking over America. But you just put in the work, you put in the time. That's all you can do. I have to work my normal job. I got a family to support. I got kids. That's just the way it is. And when I see all these people that are just like literally saying I can't, and they're guilting their fans, like that whole, I would literally die. It's just like, it pisses me off, especially because, she's kind of, if you saw her, she's kind of weird and wokey. She's wearing like fishnet shirt, I guess. I don't know what you call it. Mesh shirt. I don't know. Over a tank top, and then she's got short red hair. Like, She's a little bit looks like a little bit of an wokester here, but it's just like she's a pretty girl. I mean, so there'll probably be some dumbass simps donating like, "Oh my god, I don't want you to have to work a 9 to 5." But it's like guys don't get that luxury. You don't get to. There won't be a girl simping on you going like, "I worked my ass off here. Here's my last $100. Please don't get a job, please." Guys just like, "Nope, get the hell out there. Get to work, bitch." Welcome everybody back to Not Rich Just Bored, episode number 98. Couple away, boys. Couple away from the big 100. And hey, okay, yeah, I started the podcast off bullying a lady. That's what I do sometimes. And it was, a little sexist of me to assume that men don't get simped on, but I'm just saying, in general, they usually don't. But, we can't all be me. I have to beat them up with a stick. They're always simping on me. Like, can they please be on the podcast? I'm like, no. Wait your turn. All right. Your Instagram model 687. You got to wait your turn. But either way, I've been away up in the cold Arctic North working this week. It's a hell of a lot colder than it is back home. So that's why the podcast is going to be late. Normally it gets released on Wednesday or Thursday, usually Thursday, but it's going to be late this week. It's going to be Friday because I have been away all week and I just got home. And the first thing I did was slap on that mic, and I've actually moved my gaming setup into a different room. So if the vocals sound a little bit weird, this room's a little bit bigger. Might be a little bit of an echo in here, but I just moved it to... when it's weird for me, I don't do spring cleaning. Usually it's winter. It's kind of random, but I'll get this whole I need to rearrange everything, ADD, ADHD, something like that going on. So I'll just like deep clean the whole house and have to get rid of everything. And I'm just like, well, I really want to deep clean my computer. So I went through all the components, dusted it nicely. And then I took over my old computer desk in the living room. And I just like cleaned it all up, and it's looking spick and span. And spick and spam is, I don't even know. Spick and span. I don't even know. I feel like that sounds racist. Spick and spam. I feel like we used to say it, but I feel like it's got racist connotations maybe if you looked into the origin of it. Which actually we should right now. Let's just look into it right now. I'm just going to Google it. Origin. Because I really don't know. Origin of spick and span expression, yeah. Holy shit, this is a lot of big words, guys. The Barnhart Concise Dictionary of Entomology says the expression is a shortening of an older phrase, spick and span new, from about 1580. In the 16th century, this meant as new as a newly made nail or spike, the spick, and a fresh chip of wood, span. So, okay. So a fresh chip of wood is span, and a newly made nail or spike is a spick. Okay, that's not what I was thinking. I was thinking it had some sort of racist connotations, but now we know, guys. Came from 1580 and we're still using it. We got this shit. But yeah, I guess I should actually say one thing. Thanks, guys, for the support. There's a few new subs on the channel on YouTube. I think that's pretty cool. The last couple episodes blew up. I mean, for me, again, not Mr. Beast blew up. Let's keep our ego in check here. Let's keep down to earth. But for our channel, it's crazy. We usually get about, ranges from 5 to 15 views, something like that. But yeah, last one, the Matt Rife canceled episode last week, got 426 views. That's not too bad. And the completionist one's sitting at just under 400. So thanks, guys, for the support, and anybody who's clicked here. If you guys are coming around and the new subs there's what, like 5 new subs, I think, now, which is pretty huge for me. So I think that's cool. Thanks, guys, for joining the army. I don't know. We don't really have like an expression. There's no like Roganites, or I don't know, what does Mr. Beast calls people? Beasties? That's weird, but I don't know. But what are we gonna call ours? Boardies? Not Richie? Not Richie Riches? NRJBs? Maybe NRJBs or my bees. I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll cross that bridge when we need a nickname for the fan base. But either way, one really quick story here. Kind of fucking stupid. Everybody knows the famous streamer Pokimane, and she's always kind of in and out of controversies and whatnot. And she lost it on stream the other day and was talking because she has these new cookies that she's selling. And like any influencer, the cookies are ridiculously priced. They're like $30 a box. And she went on stream because somebody was calling her out saying, like, your cookies are repackaged and rebranded Costco cookies, and they're way too expensive just because they have your name on it. And it's just the regular shit, right? It's all bullshit because all of those influencers do that. They all get like brand deals, and then it's just like the Mr. Beast bar. And to be fair to Mr. Beast, he did try to make his stuff cheaper and healthier, but it's still not cheap. I talked about it when it came out, but it's not. I remember talking about it when it came out and saying how it was respectable, the price and stuff, but now that it's actually out, it's not as cheap as it was. It's probably cheaper in America because in Canada everything's crazy expensive, and also just importing stuff like that to Canada, it usually doubles the price. Like when Prime Energy came up here first, when it wasn't actually here, it's here now, and it's about $4 a bottle for the hydration drink at like a Petro-Canada or something, a gas station. When it first came here, though, and it wasn't regularly imported, it was like $8. People who like, there's places like Home Hardware, for example, they always get in like those random like stupid pop culture items, right? And they were the first to kind of bring them in that I saw, the Prime Energies and the Prime hydration drinks. And yeah, they're selling for like $8.27, which is just out of control. I'm like, yeah, they taste pretty good, but they ain't that good. But yeah, this person called her out, Pokimane. Let's get back on topic. Called her out for selling a crappy product that's way too expensive, and she lost and then called them idiots and said it's actually a box of 4, and so that's only $7 per bag, and then proceed to call them like, if you're a broke ass boy, then just don't buy them. And it's like, oh my god, you're so out of touch. Like, that's what I hate the most. I mean, we talked about it in that little intro bit about that lady who thinks she's gonna die if she works a 9 to 5. It's these influencer types are just so in their own ass that they don't understand what it's like to be a regular human being anymore. And to be fair, they have a little bit of that celebrity status. I get it. You can't just go out in public, and there's all those pitfalls of being a celebrity, but you still got to be grounded, and you got to understand that you can't just call your fucking fans an idiot on stream and call them broke bitches because she was basically complaining like, oh, if you can't afford my shit, then what are you doing here? And it's just, it really harkens back to, I don't remember her name, but there was another streamer she was really ignorant. I think she got canceled now. She's pretty much fucked because her clip went viral. But she said, she's like, how do you have time to watch me all day, but not $5 for a sub? And it's this entitlement, right? Because the ultimate thing about Twitch and all those platforms, that it is a free service. There's ads that play, and if you don't want the ads, you can sub. It's like YouTube. I mean, yeah, you can be a smart person and use an ad blocker, which I don't use, of course. Why would I do that? I love advertising revenue. Don't use ad blockers on my channel, guys. I want that revenue. Not that I have ads on my channel yet, but I want it. But, you know, there's ways to circumvent those ads, but still, it's optional. And people usually do it if they like the streamer. But when you sit there and you have to beg for them or you feel entitled to them, it's so fucking cringy. I hate it. I just hate when these influencer types just think they're entitled to everything and think they can talk to people however the fuck they want and get away with it. Same thing happened with that lady we talked about a couple of weeks that Sniper Wolf, who docks Jack's films. It's that same level of entitlement. Like, the law doesn't apply to me. I can do whatever I want because I'm a rich, hot young lady and I can I can rule the universe. It's just, I don't know. And if you look at the box of her cookies, it's a box that does come with 4 bags in it. But the bags are like, you ever get those Oreos, the Oreo minis, and there's the little pouches? That's how big they are. There's probably like 6 tiny cookies in there. So $7 for one of those little pouches is still not a good deal. And again, there's this whole allegations. I don't know if they're true. They're just allegations that she's just rebranded Costco cookies. They're not even different. They just basically bought Costco cookies and repackaged them, put her little logo on them, and now they're worth triple, quadruple the price. So give her bud. Other stuff that's been going on has been there's this whole thing. Now, I don't watch Doctor Who. I'll say that out the gate. I don't watch Doctor Who because it's one of those things where I usually, when I get into a series, I like to kind of know what I'm getting into. Like, I like the lore. I like to get invested in everything. I like to watch it all kind of deal. And Doctor Who is just, it's been going on for so long, and there's so many different doctors, and just, I don't know. I don't fully understand it. I don't know if there's like different timelines, but you know, I know enough to get the references when there's references in video games to the TARDIS and stuff like that. But basically, the reason I'm bringing it up now is Doctor Who apparently has gone really woke in this last season. They just did a last season. They brought back the one male doctor, but it's basically been a whole season of awkward integration of male shaming, like showing how much better the female doctor is, and basically putting that doctor to shame. You know, I'm just gonna play the reel here so you guys can understand. I'm just gonna play a reel. Okay, here we go. This guy, this is Shook Earth Media. They made a reel about it. This is where I heard it from, so he can do a better job explaining it than me. Oh, let's go.
Trending this weekend, and for good reason, because the show has gone full Pandaverse. I had high hopes for this revival because David Tennant is my favorite Doctor, and he has returned along with Russell T Davies, who is the showrunner during my favorite seasons. But it turns out that David Tennant has returned so that his character can be berated because he's not as brilliant as Jodie Whittaker.
60 minutes ago, I was this really brilliant woman, and now I've got this old face back again.
And so he can get lectured about pronouns by an alien oversized Furby.
You're assuming he as a pronoun.
My chosen pronoun is the definite article.
And so he can get talked down to because he's a man, so he can't possibly understand.
It's a shame you're not a woman anymore, because she'd have understood.
Something a male-presenting Time Lord will never understand.
And apparently non-binary people have superpowers in this universe now.
We're binary.
She's not. Because the Doctor's
Male
and female.
And neither. And more.
Yeah, I think I'm good. Rip Doctor Who.
Yeah, so he just said, yeah, rip Doctor Who. It does seem very weird that it's kind of that full, like you said, Pandaverse. It's all like, it's literally the definition in the whole thing. They checked all the boxes, berating men for being men. You know, women are brilliant, and it's like, can't we just all be brilliant? Can't we just be human beings? Is that so bad? I will say one thing. That Furby thing that he talked about is adorable. That thing looks really cute. I really like that thing, but it's really weird that it's talking about pronouns. And then, yeah, the non-binary people literally had superpowers, which was kind of weird. So, and it's that's a hashtag that's been trending called Rip Doctor Who. So, it's the reason I wanted to bring it up for my podcast is that we've talked about 100 times on here, literally. When you go woke, you go broke. I mean, you just really do. And it sucks because Doctor Who is such a beloved franchise. But when you get to that pandering, it comes across as pathetic. It does. And I'm sorry. And I know it comes off as a jerk thing to say, and people always think, well, you're not being very inclusive, but it's like, no, it's not about being inclusive anymore. It's about control. It's about the narrative. Just fucking love each other, guys. I watched another reel, I think it was earlier today, actually, and there was this guy, and he was on a plane, and he had his wife's ashes. And I don't know the context, but he was on a plane with his wife's ashes, and he's just being filmed. He's crying, and it's an emotional video. And he's talking about how he wished he would have spent more time with his wife. And my guess is that maybe he was going to spread her ashes, or maybe he was working away when she died, and like that's why he said, I don't know. I don't know again. I don't know the context, but it was really emotional, and he was just basically saying just love everybody. Phone your parents, phone your family, phone everybody you love as often as you can. Visit them as often as you can, and stop hating people. He literally talked about how he's like, what are you gonna spend your time on? Road rage, hating other people. He's like, it doesn't care if we're black, white, yellow, or anything. It doesn't matter. He said, we're all human beings and we should all love each other. And I just literally, I got that little tingle, like that little, that little glow in your heart, like E.T. Like I just felt that. And I'm like, this guy, like, he gets it. He's having an emotional time because he lost his wife, but he's spitting facts, as the kids would say. It's, it's just, that's exactly what it's about. That's what we should be doing. But when this Panderverse shit happens, like it's just really gross. And if it went the other way, if everything was absolutely toxic masculinity, I would complain the same way. Like if the whole world was about, I don't know, just the opposite. If everything was about, it had to be like a gym bro. Like if that was the mainstream thing to pump everything, like everybody had to be a gym bro and a douchebag gym guy, like we would have the same problem, right? It's just about forcing your ideology and your views on the whole world and trying to change everybody. Just let everybody love each other. Let everybody do their own thing. Leave people the fuck alone. I don't care. There is a way to be healthy in life. There's a way to be unhealthy. And you could do what you want. That's the great part. But to force some unhealthy views and some healthy, it doesn't matter either way. To force them on people is wrong. Going to the gym, for example, is healthy. It's healthy to get a pump in, to get a workout in, for sure. I don't think people should be forced to go to the gym. I don't. That's my example there. Is I don't force anybody. Is everybody being gender fluid or transgender now? Is that healthy? I don't know. Maybe for some people that really are that, sure, I'm willing to buy that. But is it healthy to say every kid is? Or should we just let people figure out what they're going to do with their lives on their own? Because the moment you start pumping it into their brains, then it's more of an indoctrination. It's like, oh, you're not LGBTQ+? Well, you're just a cis fucking loser, aren't you? Just like if there's a bunch of gym people going around the schools going like, what, you didn't go to the gym today? You're a fucking loser. And there are people like that, but the mainstream media is not calling you a fucking loser. I don't know. It's kind of a long-winded way of saying it, but I think you get my point of just anybody can have ideas. You can do your own thing, but the moment you start to enforce those ideas on everybody, it's a problem. And it's a problem for everything. But either way, Doctor Who, sorry. I wish I could have saved you. I'm not a big enough fan to be super upset by it, but it is just an example of, yet again, go woke, go broke. It's happened every time. On the opposite side of that spectrum of going woke and going broke, we have this movie that's coming out. Now, unfortunately, it's on the Daily Wire platform, which I don't have a subscription to, and I probably never will because I don't. There's not enough content on Daily Wire that I would want to have. I'm not that involved in that political stuff and all that. If they start to get a bunch of cool movies and stuff, then maybe I will. But this is the first one that I've kind of been genuinely interested in because I think it's actually kind of hilarious. There's this movie coming out. I think it's exclusive to the platform. They might be doing another release. I don't know. But as far as I know, it's on the Daily Wire Plus. But it's called Lady Ballers. And it's about this group of men that decide it's basically like saying, oh, well, anybody can be anything they want. Like you can identify as girls if you want. So these guys go and they all decide to identify as women and play women's basketball, and they're just beating the fuck out of everything, and then they want to take over every sport, and it's basically making a satirical representation of the whole, gender identity thing that's going on in the world right now, which I think is funny as hell. It really does actually give me vibes of like Dodgeball and those kind of old movies where it's just really like unhinged raunchy comedy, which we do need. I'm very surprised, but I'm just talking about this movie now because I feel like it's not going to come out. I feel like this movie is going to be canceled so goddamn hard. I mean, it is on the Daily Wire Plus, so that is their own platform, and obviously they're a right-wing platform, so they're not going to cancel it off their own platform, but it's probably going to get like, I'm surprised this trailer was even on. I saw the trailer on Instagram of all things, but I'm sure you can find it on YouTube. Just look up Lady Ballers trailer. But yeah, I'm surprised that this trailer was even out there at all, because it's if you're one of those hardcore lefties or in that kind of headspace, do not watch this trailer. You will not be a happy camper. The comments I saw under this trailer were just like a mixture of like half of them were just, the right-wing guys going like, oh, snowflakes, and then the other half was just the left-wing guys losing their fucking mind, going like, this is the most transphobic thing I've ever seen. And it's like, well, they're making fun of it. It's a comedy movie, guys. But the one thing I hope comes out of this is that we get a revival of comedy, because we really do need it. There has not been a really decent comedy in a long time. Like the early 2010s probably was like 2010 to 15. There's probably a few in there, but like 2000 to 2010 was a gold mine. I mean, obviously there's the early 2000s and the 90s and the 80s, 70s. They had lots of sweet comedies. I love the Mel Brooks movies, all that stuff. Just unreal comedy. Steve Martin, John Candy. Newer ones was like Will Ferrell, John C. Reilly. Those movies, just unreal comedies. Like when we were able to do whatever we wanted and just it was about laughing and having fun. That's what it was about. And I think that's part of the reason why the world is kind of seeming like a dark and danky place lately, is just people are taking the fun out of the world. They're taking that spark of joy that comes from laughing and just comedy. I mean, I talked about last week about how they tried to cancel Matt Rife for a fucking joke. It's like people just, they don't know how to laugh anymore. They don't know how to just have a good time. Everything has to be serious. Everything has to be about politics or, gender identity. It's everything's sacred. This is sacred. You can't joke about it. It's like, no, motherfucker, you can joke about everything. And it's up to you as an individual. If you don't think it's funny, well, just don't watch it. How many times? We should do that. Maybe that's something that people should, maybe there's an avid fan out there. Maybe just one. Just maybe there's somebody that could tell me, like, how many times have I talked about this before on this podcast? How many times have I screamed into this microphone going like, just don't watch things that offend you. Don't watch things you don't like. I'm not a huge fan of those overly datey, weird chick flicks, but they're great movies for girls. Doesn't mean they should be off the air. I just don't watch them. It's real simple, guys. It's real simple. And I feel like a broken record, but seriously, something needs to happen in this world where people need to get their shit together and just stop getting mad about everything. Let people have their fun. Let people enjoy a little bit of comedy. You can't cancel people for jokes. It's absolutely ridiculous and it defeats the whole purpose of comedy. But either way, we're going to move past that. Hopefully that is a funny movie. Check out the trailer. If you think it's offensive, let me know. I mean, that's fine. I think it is. I think it's over the edge, but that's only because of how people are these days. Like, I know people are going to be offended by it, but I think it's funny. Like, I think it's like, I laughed when I watched the trailer. I'm like, this is pretty fucking hilarious. But I know it's gonna ruffle some feathers for sure. Hardcore. But last thing I'm gonna close out with today, guys, is a game. There's a few games I've been playing, but one of them I'll probably talk about next week. We'll see if I end up playing it or not. But this week I've been away working, but the last weekend after I recorded the last podcast, we played a little game called Lethal Company. And this game is actually pretty crazy. It's super fun. I have my critiques about it, but basically the whole point of the game is you play with 1 to 4 players. It's on PC exclusive, unfortunately, but it's kind of got a cell shaded art style to it. It's kind of low poly a little bit, but it's super fun. And all you do is there's 1 to 4 people. You work for a scrap company. Basically, you work for this alien company, and you go to these planets to salvage scrap and sell your scrap to make your quota. And if you don't make your quota, the aliens blow you up and the game is over. So the way it works is it's actually save files. It's based off save files, but you can get people to play with you on the internet. But the save file goes until you can't make your quota. So, and that's one of the problems I have with the game is that you have to play a save file like that. I thought it would be more like the ghost hunting games like Phasmophobia and stuff where you make money and then you just kind of have your money to pool and you can use it to buy new resources or stuff, that you need whenever. But this one, unless you're playing your same save file, you'll always start over. So if you join your friend's game, it'll just be that friend's game. And you'll get to use the money that they've made in that game. And then if you die, you lose all your stuff. You go start at 0. So I kind of wish it was more of a game where you just kind of constantly made money, because I just feel like that feels like more of a progression to me. And maybe it'll change it. I don't know. So that's my big gripe. But let's get to the important part. The important part is when you're on the planet. When you're on the planet, you got to salvage stuff to sell. But, of course, there's got to be something to stop you, right? There's got to be some sort of a gameplay loop. And in this one, it's kind of an SCP vibe. If you guys remember, Special Containment Procedure, where it's like monsters and weird shit. I don't look it up if you don't know what SCP is, but it's like creatures and weird creatures that have their quirks and stuff like that. But in this one, I get that SCP vibe of confined spaces, and then there's monsters, and all the monsters kind of have their own little thing. Like the spider builds webs, and it's fast, and there's like a creature that walks around on 2 legs. There's a spring man that you have to look. It's like SCP-173, this the concrete guy, where you have to look at him, and if you don't look at him, he'll move to kill you. And there's all kinds of shit. I haven't even scratched the surface of what kind of enemies you can find, but there's classes of planets that are either easy or harder, and certain entities are pretty hard to kill, like, or you can't kill them at all, and then some of them are just, kind of avoid them. But then there's like the shadow guy, and he'll just, if he's behind you, just snaps your neck and you're dead. So it's just really intense, and it gets to the point where you're trying to get as much money as you can, get all the scrap, but the monsters get harder and harder and scarier. So, and then outside of the facility that you go into, the salvage stuff, there's also creatures outside, and the closer to nighttime it gets, there's more intense creatures that come out, and it's really fun, and it's really interesting how they've kind of, the way they've designed it, and the amount of entities they have is impressive. There's like a forest giant. The one that I hate the most that I've seen is on some of the desert planets. There's a giant worm underground. And if you hear, like, literally, you'll just be running to your ship, and then you'll hear a rumble, and it's like, it's too late. By the time you hear the rumbling, you're dead, because it just bursts under the ground and eats you. And I thought it was pretty cheap, but I'm sure there's some trick. If you scan them with your scanner, you can unlock them in the bestiary, and if you have the bestiary, you can kind of use the bestiary to, like, read their weaknesses and whatnot. But by the time you're fucking in this thing's mouth, the last thing you're thinking about is scanning, because you're just dead. But yeah, I don't know. I'm sure there's some trick to it, but I thought it was pretty cheap. But this game has really blown up. Like, if you guys see on social media, if you're into gaming at all, it's everywhere, and people are making compilations and videos and all kinds of shit. It's fucking huge right now, and it makes sense, because it's, like I said, it's real fun, and I'm probably gonna, excuse me, I'm gonna probably play it this weekend. I don't know if I'll stream it. We'll see if I might stream it tonight. We'll see. I do want to stream it, but I don't know if I'll be able to this weekend. I might have to do it next weekend, but I do want to stream some of it. We've been playing a little bit of it. It's pretty terrifying. It's just really hilarious. The way the mic system works and the walkie-talkies, it's all very authentic, and it really does feel like the way the voice works and the echoes at the location and the radio voice, it's all very, like, immersive, and it really does feel like you're just a bunch of guys collecting scrap. And if somebody doesn't answer the radio, it's like, oh shit, they're dead as hell. But yeah, fun game. I do recommend it. I would recommend people picking it up. I think it's literally $13, and this just goes back, I think I was talking about last week about how indie games are just dominating the market, and it's just like, it doesn't make sense to me how these AAA titles are just glitchy, they're bullshit, and meanwhile you get all these indie games, they're a fraction of the price. Literally, a new game is like $90 right now. It's almost a tenth of the price. It's about, about 1.5 of the price. I don't know. It's cheap anyway compared to a AAA title, and you get a lot more out of it. You get a lot more playtime out of it. And it just blows my mind how that's the way the world is right now. You can either buy these stupid AAA titles that are glitchy, and you play them for, maybe you get something sweet like an Elden Ring, and you get 100 hours out of it or better. But usually it's like, what, a 30-hour game, 40-hour game at most, and then it's like, you're done with it. Whereas these games are $10 and infinite replayability, infinite laughs, infinite fun. So I don't know. I just think indie's killing it right now, and it's the funnest games to me. I really like it. So, but that's all I have for this week. I gotta get this thing uploaded. It's Friday. It's already late. You guys are gonna be pissed off. The hardcore fans are gonna be pissed off. Remember, we're on our way. #1 podcast in Canada. I mean, next to the How Do We Strem podcast. There's been a couple of people that have messaged me. I'm gonna say this on here to close out too. A couple of people, fans and friends of the show. There's been over 4 of them who have reached out to me because they have Spotify, and at the end of the year with Spotify, you get your Spotify Wrapped, right? And their Spotify Wrapped said that Not Rich Just Bored was their #1 podcast they listened to this year. So thanks, guys. Appreciate that. I think that's awesome for everybody. It's cool to see that people are actually listening and having a good time. And I would like more comments because I like the feedback. I just think it's cool when people leave comments and, they reach out. It's just more engaging. I think that's perfect. And I do have some people that reach out and I love it. So thank you guys for the comments. And yeah, the new subscriber on YouTube, there's one that actually put their name because not everybody has their thing public, but there's one that was When in Rome. So thanks for the sub. Appreciate that. Appreciate you sticking around. And yeah, it's been a good couple of weeks. We've been seeing some growth. It was stagnant there for a while. So, but again, unlike that girl at the beginning of this podcast, I work my 9 to 5. It's what I got to do, and I just do this. I grind this on the side. I like doing it. I think it's fun, and I love that you guys love it too. The people that are sticking around, appreciate it very much. So I'll say again, thank you everybody so much for listening. I really appreciate it. Remember, the links to all social media are in the description below, and I will see you next week. Bye, guys.